Hi there. Hello, fam. Hola, ciao, cheers, cheerio. Actually, I think cheers means goodbye. I hope you're having a great beginning to your week. I'd say happy Monday, but there's just that cadre of people that do not like Mondays and they just don't want to hear it. And so if I express happy Monday, they'll be like nice about it and all that other sort of stuff. So here I am with some light tan pleated or pants that are meant to be pleated and a shirt that I upcycled for myself that is selvage. It's a chambray shirt that I have done my thing to. That is not the purpose of the video for the fit. The actual purpose for this is the version of the Grizzly jacket that I am selling on my various sellers platforms. God, this thing is so comfortable. Every time I put this thing on, I don't want to take it off. And I know that sounds, especially if you're on TikTok right now, TikTok is nuts with people understandably expressing their side hustle talents. Hey guys, I just saw this new way to do a fob on car keys or whatever now. And I totally respect the side hustle because I too am a prognosticator, partitioner. The side hustle is real, especially when it's, these current economic times, but we won't get political. But today I'm going to do a couple of videos, maybe 3, about how to wear these things because, like everything else, there's a semi-formal and just a totally laid-back way to do it. T-shirts and blue jeans and maybe boots or, sneakers, tennis shoes, as we used to call them. And then you've got something that's a little bit more unique and semi-formal, which is more like this, collared shirt, non-denim pants. I know the shirt looks denim. It's actually chambray cotton, so let me lower this and do the technical fit, daily fit thing. To about, what's it, crotch level, adjust camera, because I don't really like crotch level stuff, and then I step back to be seen. Good proportions. You can see how this thing hangs. And then I just do profile, flattering profile. Okay, good, because my body type does not do profile very well. And towards the back panel, you can see that this is unlike my first prototype, which did not have fur on the back panel. This does, and traditionally a Grizzly jacket does have a waist belt, which is very classy, sometimes clumsy. The thing is that, as I've said, these are the Grizzly jackets I'm peddling. Use that term with full respect for the people that make them. They're so brilliant. These are, of course, lambskin, which is a much softer, more pliable, buttery, soft. It's the highest of the high-end leathers and is an absolute joy to wear. This thing fits like a glove and it's brand new. I've got the one that I have been wearing the last, 3 months. It just gets better and better in its fit, its comfort, feels like a second skin. And I know that all that stuff, I know all that stuff sounds like, typical salesman type stuff. It's the most incredible thing ever. The internet is fascinating with the hyperbole. However, although you cannot feel it, you can see the small grain, how supple that is. You can imagine what I'm talking about. My sleeves are rolled up, so there's a bump here. And maybe that sort of helps explain how soft this is. You can actually see, you saw that my sleeves are rolled up and how fitted it is, but it's not pulling, It's just wrapped around there. I'm looking for words like maybe sumptuous. It's incredibly comfortable. It is incredibly comfortable. And I'm not a handsome guy by any stretch of the imagination, but I think this really looks nice. I think this is a nice, handsome look, worth the high-end price. And for me, high-end is, maxing $360, not including shipping. And of course, there are sellers, distributors, makers, brands that also use artisans in places like China and Pakistan and charge you $1,000. And I know that's becoming a big debate online. And, you know, there's a lot of gatekeeping online concerning, well, you know, the guys in Pakistan, they're either, the argument is either the people in China, Korea, and Pakistan who are also leather artisans and can be just as talented as anyone else, they're being exploited. It's labor conditions, it's this, it's that. The truth is that especially in a reality where the transportation costs have increased such, you know, we're looking at $5 a gallon, $6, $7 a gallon, depending on where you live. The realities of the economics are most of your finer leather has been being produced, It has been produced in China, Korea, and Pakistan for quite some time. And I don't want to get in too much into that debate. If you're going to pay $1,000 or more for a particular piece, then yes, it should be for, well, of course, there's the brand, you know, your Ralph Lauren RRL and some of those higher end brands. What's going on is that they are just paying their artisans who live in realities where they can't work for $1 a day, $10 a day. You have no ability, I think, you have no ability to confirm the conditions on which most jackets are made of. Now, I'm in close contact with the people who make this, and as far as I can tell, they've been so personable, and we've talked about more than just clothing. We've talked about life story, family, traveling, their dreams, their aspirations, and they're pretty sophisticated. Matter of fact, they're very sophisticated, and in a lot of ways, I enjoy conversing with them more than I could enjoy conversing with a lot of other Americans, which leads me to believe that they are not producing these beautiful products under austere and extreme conditions. In fact, they show a tremendous amount of autonomy and agency, that's the word I'm looking for, and control over their destinies. And we spoke at length about the products that they could make and sell, and they spoke at length at the things that they make for other companies, and then the things they make that they brand themselves, and a lot of stuff that they sell that doesn't have labels because they're leaving it up to the smaller businesses to why am I getting tongue-tied? They're leaving it up to the smaller businesses and some of the manufacturers to just add their own label. And so it's very murky water. And within the heritage community, there is no small amount of sort of gatekeeping happening at the moment. And it's just a very simple equation. If you want to support artisans in the West, in the first world, here in the United States, Great Britain, Europe, places like that, then okay, be prepared and be happy to pay $1,000 or more for this equivalent. If it doesn't matter to you, and I have owned several, you know, new flight jackets. I just sold a G1, you know, made here in the US that isn't too old. I have owned mostly RRL high-end leather jackets that were produced in the United States, and I've owned, and I'm saying all this to sort of say that I am even across the board in what I buy. And I have owned and just recently sold some Ralph Lauren Purple Label that was produced in Italy. So I've supported your first world artists and will continue to support them based on the item and its quality. For this particular piece, these things are made in Pakistan, and those people are incredible people. And the quality is there as far as my expertise can tell. What I have done is gone to some local leather experts, some real craftsmen, some great people that do leather for a living right here in Texas, and have them sort of look this stuff over, and they gave it the thumbs up. They didn't say it was the finest, but they said it was far from the worst. It was right there near the top. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being poor leather, 10 being the top, they're like, this is easily an 8. 7.5 on the worst day for some of these pieces, 8, and in some areas 9. The stitching is also clearly done by hand. The materials, they took their time, but they were reasonable. The people who built it, who constructed these garments, take their time reasonably. They've got, they give themselves about a week, as I've said, maybe a week to produce them. And in that week's time, I have spoken to them about this particular jacket. This took longer than a week because they did find flaws. It was, in the first height that they cut. And you'll notice, as I've said, if you compare this to the one that I'm gonna wear, I'm going outdoors and I'll make a video outdoors, you'll notice that but you probably won't be able to tell. This is actually more luxurious and longer, slightly longer fur than the one that I'm not selling, my keeper one. So even within the standards, they're able to practice their own QC quality control and conduct themselves. What I'm getting at is the artisans that I'm working with are just doing a fantastic job, capable of QCing and giving you a price. I think if you go on their main platform, I want to say these are $400 right now. That's not what I'm selling them for. I've got some interesting experiences with the platform. I've sold on this platform before, and you know, I've had some success with electronics, but I haven't had a lot of success with selling garments on the platform. So in case I come across the vintage camera that I want to take, use for a while, clean up and flip, I use that platform, but I haven't. All that to say, this, let me show this to you again, because I'm going to switch around here. This video, both in its short form and its long form, are going to be shared on all my media. Like that's kind of that Dutch angle that's very dramatic. Shared on all my platforms. Let's straighten this out. So like I said, this is going to be the traditional, there we go, it's gonna, grizzly jacket that I have for sale. And it's gonna have all the traditional grizzly jacket features, like I said, especially the belt. And I just like to let the belt either hang or I'll wrap it up and put it in the side pocket. Problem with that is that this is lambskin and it's really susceptible. It's not like the heavier leathers of the horse hide and the steer hide and goat skin where you can almost kind of abuse them. I mean, I've got a flight jacket. This, if I wanted to, this one is for sale. You can actually see that I could hang it up by this in the coat hanger and leave it. Okay, jump cut. Someone knocked at the door. This is for sale for like $100. Absolutely gorgeous goat skin jacket. And the great thing about these, if you're not feeling the lambskin thing, is that you can buy this from me. Just contact me and there you go. You're like, I don't want to do the lambskin, Terry. It's too fancy, too much money, all that other stuff. And I get it. Everybody's kind of going through it. But this is a real, like this, Spiewak and Sons. Yeah, this is the one I have to sell. Contract 6852. And I can't remember what year that corresponds to, but it is vintage. It does appear to be, have had some care to it. Absolutely just murderously awesome white jacket. And the funny thing about this, as if I can go on a tangent, is that when you look at this cut, it looks like the more modern boxier cut, kind of like what Ralph Lauren does with them. And those sell for $1,500 because they're made in the UK, leather made in the UK. And it looks at a distance when I hold it up, like it's a boxier cut, but it's actually not. It's as slender as any military or slender as this. It just doesn't look that way. And it's an amazing pattern. It's an amazing pattern and still retains all the handsome details of the G1 jacket that are so well loved. So speaking on, well, just getting a oh yeah, this is a two-parter. I had to do a jump cut. Speaking on this whole concept of jackets where the fur is on the outside, and again, one of the reasons they did that is because it actually leaves it changes the way it drapes, and since you've got your lining and then just the fur, it ends up having, you end up experiencing a lot of circulation on there that you don't get in a normal leather jacket, and just leaves more maneuverability. It's weird. You have to experience a quality made grizzly jacket to sort of get the feel of why it's such a premium garment and why the originals, the few that do still exist, are crown jewels. And you know, I've got my issues with the whole heritage community, because there's a lot of great pieces that they just ignore. A lot of things that, and a lot of things that they focus on that are just plain silly. I'm retired Navy. So if you followed me for a long time, you already knew that. And there are Navy outerwear garments and training garments and whatnot from around World War II that have been added to that list. You know, and it's just gatekeeping, to be honest with you. Added to the list of desirable collectibles. And the thing with the military, as a military retiree, 20 years in the Navy, is that the military is always looking for the latest and greatest and best. And so if you pay a lot of money for like a gunner's mate smock from the 1940s or whatever, I mean, for me, everything has to be wearable, but that's another conversation. This is a Terry jacket, and it is same concept. You've got fur on the outside of leather. This is a prototype. Don't worry, I'm not going to try to push it on you because it's not even done. And it's basically the difference between, are you kidding me? Glasses. This and what I just wore is that this is much heavier, orders of magnitude heavier. And the logic with this is that it's just a classic leather jacket with heavy fur that's beautiful in raw form. As I've said in another video, that you're going to have areas where the fur is just skinless. This is just adding, this is for cold weather, and I would wear this in the same situation. I'm talking about the utilitarian view of it. I wear this in the same circumstances as those really heavy steer hide motorcycle jackets. And those are having a moment as well, especially your, Bucko, J24, the Sears Hercules, some of those, all the ones with the D type bucket. The funny thing is that sort of like the G1 jacket, it became a ubiquitous pattern after Schott with their Perfecto sort of originated it, because it was originally meant to be a utilitarian garment, of course. And I continue to sort of laugh, gatekeeping. There are 3 models of those jackets that there's a crowd of people that just want to feel desirable and will pay $1,000 or more for, and then all the other models which are identical. I mean, steer hide, what I'm getting at, steer hide is the easiest, most accessible leather for a leather crafts person or company to get a hold of. That type of motorcycle jacket is an easy basic, the slant frame with all the zippers and everything, is sort of a basic common pattern. It's ubiquitous. And so they can produce pretty easily and cheaply, 100, 150 bucks, 200 max, a very high quality jacket because it's steer hide. Steer hide is the actual leather that is the survival leather. I'm out in the middle of nowhere and it's cold. And if you've got steer hide, you will be fine. You will be warm. And all that to say, this is a very similar sort of ideal as far as its use. So I call it the Terry jacket, and eventually I'm going to reshape these upper areas, or I'm going to have this go up to the seam. I'm going to completely change because it looks sort of uneven. I mean, it's a prototype, and the Terry jacket is like just some places it's sewn, some places other areas. It's just a wilder, more basic, hardcore variation of a lambskin jacket, just sort of, I don't want to say modernized because it's not. I definitely don't want belts on it. I definitely don't want there to be, I want there to be leather or something else between the lining and the fur. I don't necessarily want that. This is cold weather. This is, I'm going to wear this in the same situation I'd wear a biker jacket, your traditional biker jacket. Think Marlon Brando in The Wild One. You haven't seen that, and we need to have another variation on that. There was a biker movie that was made a couple of years ago with the guy that's going to be the new Sonny Crockett, the guy that played Elvis. I don't know why I'm brain farting. He's going to be in the new Miami Vice movie, but he made a biker movie, The Riders of Bikes, with Bane and Venom. What's that actor's name? Why am I brain farting with all these actors? And I can't use the phone right now to look that up. But yeah, this is a heavier garment. And even if you were to get your traditional grizzly in steer hide or horse hide or something like that, it would be a slightly different thing, where generally The type of construction would be lighter circulation. You can, of course, wear a horsehide, grizzly jacket as a biker jacket. I want the Terry jackets to be my own sort of variation, and I don't want any two to ever be the same. So that's a completely different philosophy. I will probably not continue to put fur on the collar. I might, it just depends. If someone orders one, do it. If not, it's no big deal. Maybe just have a portion of it be fur, but it's about just having as thick a fur as you can, just in these front placards and the back. And in the future ones, the fur will probably just come to here. So, that's the difference between the two. I've shown you 3 different leather jackets, and more is to come. I appreciate your patience if you watched both of these videos cut together. Yeah, it's all about communication. And yeah, what I'm getting ready to do now is go grab the grizzly jacket that I do wear every day, as opposed to this one, which is for sale and is being gingerly taken care of. And we're just gonna have a cool day rolling around the city and see how it actually wears in the wild, which I've done before. But we're gonna do more of that today. Take care of yourself.